Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Talking a Big Game with Eddie Masonette here at Crown Sports Studio 4747. And I'm super excited to have this gentleman on with the show with us because it's funny how much we've talked about two things in depth. One is H-Town, one time. And then the second thing we talked about is being parents of young whippersnappers. And these whippersnappers coming from my neck. The one and only Joel Anderson of The Ringer. First off, my guy, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Good to see you, Eddie. The last time we were in the same room together, you probably don't even remember. It was your last meeting in charge of the Bay Area Black Journalists Association.
Wow, that is a shout. Yes.
And that crazy? We both lived in the Bay, and I was just kind of in the back. I don't even know what. I'm trying to remember who was on stage that day. But anyway, that feels like a whole lifetime ago, and it kind of was in a lot of ways, you know.
Yeah, it's been such a we both had lots of transformation in our lives, and one of those transformations is these young kids of ours think they can just talk to us any old kind of way, and I'm reminded of this because I sometimes think my son is 4 years old, and the way he talks to me, I'm just like.
It's crazy.
The ancestors are laughing at us.
It's crazy. Now, it is crazy. I tell my son all the time, you're the freest Anderson who's ever existed. You know, it's like nobody has had the freedom that you had. And then, you know, it's funny though, because I said that in front of one of my aunts one time, and she was like, well, you know, you were pretty free too. And but you know, it's just things change, man. Parenting changes, and it's kind of tough because I know you probably were raised the same way. It's like I don't know if this is okay. Like, if I should be encouraging this, that like they speak up for themselves, but also like, I don't want you talking to me like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You should be respecting me, but is that like an important thing? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like trying to deal with these new parenting norms versus like what we had to grow up with, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a weird balance because I recognize, you know, how you can immediately see the things your son does or your daughter, if you watch and listening to this, you like, oh, I recognize that behavior. That's me.
That's me.
Or sometimes I get in trouble and I say, oh, I recognize that behavior. That's my wife. And my wife gives me the most evil side eye. And it's very clear that we need to move on. So speaking of moving on, you know, this is all part of a bigger series talking about the seismic shift in college football. And we always try to keep a lens of what's happening in Texas and the things that are happening in Texas and what it means for the world on the outside. Because look, you know, I've never been shy. I'm from Oklahoma, but people recognize that, yeah, Texas is the South, but also Texas is its own Commonwealth institution, United Nation, if you will. And the things that are happening right now, when we start to look at the power players of college football, so obviously this is a conversation about Texas Tech, and Texas A&M, among others. Joel, I'm curious, how has that power dynamic shifted in recent years compared to kind of what we grew up on? Because if I ask you who's the first name that you think of when you think of Texas Tech, I know for me, the first name I've ever only thought of is Byron Hanspard.
Man, that's a great question. I'm Spike Dykes era, and so I don't. So would it be player or coach, like, or just any name?
I don't even know if it matters because Texas Tech has not ever really been a relevant force in my life until maybe the 2000s.
Man, it's crazy because I mean, I'm trying to think. Is it Bam Morris? Is it James Gray? Is it Zach Thomas? Is it Tracy Saul? I mean, probably more realistically, it'd probably be Michael Crabtree.
Yeah.
If I just think about, all right, like when I think of Texas Tech and the one time they really got onto my radar as like a national storyline, it was the Michael Crabtree era. And it's perfect Tech stuff because it's like Michael Crabtree comes from Dallas, goes to Texas Tech. That is the Texas Tech story. There's a kid in the book Friday Night Lights. He plays at Odessa Permian. His name is Lloyd Hill. One of the greatest receivers. I think he might be the all-time leading receiver in Southwest Conference history, something like that. And it's just like that is kind of the guy who Texas Tech got. You know, like he was very productive. a good player out of Dallas. Maybe Texas and A&M overlooked him, and you end up there at Texas Tech because that was nobody's first choice for a very long time.
Yeah, and to me, what's been interesting about that is Texas Tech's always had money.
Yeah.
Now they maybe lagged behind like A&M and UT, but that oil field been an oil field for a long time.
Right.
And I've always been curious, and it's funny how we've seen institutions and economies kind of shift programs. The most obvious example is Oregon, right?
Yeah.
When Phil Knight decided to put his thumb on the scale, all of a sudden the Oregon Ducks became they became a powerhouse essentially.
Yeah.
And it felt like, the funny thing is about me and Texas Tech too is they were the first school that I saw try to make Under Armour cool. Now, this isn't going to be. We're not going to put Under Armour on trial right now necessarily, but they stood out for obvious reasons. I also remember they had that one uniform that it looked like they had the logo. It looked like a drawing of like a frumpy cartoon character. I can't remember what that logo was. But they had really bad uniforms for a long time, and then they got cool. Man. And now I see them and. I think 3 to 4 to 5 years ago, it felt like they were putting their thumb on the scales. We're going to have our Oregon moment. But the thing about Oregon is, man, they've always been an outpost and like, man, we don't think about Oregon like that. Texas Tech seems like they are only willing to Tasmanian devil their way through any conversation, any issue. And some of that really starts with their billionaire oil baron booster, Cody Campbell, because he seems to want to be chaotic. This is a sport that rewards people who can be chaotic in some ways, but this doesn't seem fun. Like none of this seems fun, Joel, and that's really? Always been my problem with it seems like fun, chaos. They have the chaotic, the chaotic neutral, good, bad. I sometimes teeter on, is this chaotic good or chaotic bad when it comes to how Campbell and Tech are operating? I'm willing to be talked out of it.
Oh no, I think it's I think it's great. I think it's hilarious. I think that there was a time when Texas Tech only like annoyed A&M. There was like a run in the mid to late 90s when Texas Tech, kind of was going back and forth with A&M and they would win. And they even had like a fight in the stands one time. I don't know if you remember, somebody tried to tear down the goalposts and move it through the crowd, and they had a fight over it. And it was just like Texas Tech was an annoyance. And I like the idea that they've just gone all in and they just said, you know what, we're not going to be outspent. Our facilities are going to be top of the line, and we're willing to pay, top dollar for these athletes. And it's making everybody else have to step their game up and do something else. And look, the thing you mentioned, Oregon. I don't know if you've ever been to Eugene. I've been to Eugene. I don't think it's the greatest place, but a lot of people like it. The climate is great. The Pacific Northwest has its allure, and they were getting a lot of kids out of California, that maybe they needed to get out of LA, or whatever. And they could go up there and they were able to sort of get that. Lubbock was a whole different proposition, man. I mean, Lubbock County was a dry county for a number of times, right? Yep. So they had that. It's way out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I don't know what you would consider their primary recruiting base, because they're like 6 hours from Dallas, 8 from Houston. So they've always had to like convince people to go out here. And before you could just pay the players or use NIL as an inducement, it was just like, come out here, you can get some playing time. We really support our team, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, bottom line is like, you want to come out here because we're going to give you $1 million.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I like that it has leveled the playing field in that way. And I like that, like, the Texas and A&M, just because of their institutional advantages, because of their resource advantages, they've never really had to compete in state for athletes like this. And I wish it was TCU that could do it. But if TCU can't do it, then I'm glad that Texas Tech is doing it.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of I appreciate it. And I acknowledge that, yeah, man, if you're going to be in that type of regional outpost, you got to figure out your superpowers one way or the other, for sure. And I recognize, given the circumstances now, where they are poised to, in some ways, be villains. and every good story needs a villain.
Mm-hmm.
I have my concern given the issues with Thorsby and his eligibility, right?
Okay.
And I recognize the fact that, hey, like, what are the lengths we're willing to go when we are pushing so much of our money and our resource to, we talked about this before we went on air. We're not playing any games. We're hiring Jeffrey Kessler. This is the dude who helped get Oscar Pistorius ready for to compete in the Olympics. This is the guy who helped usher in free agency in the NFL and is one of the pioneers on being a legal advocate for player rights in professional sports and college sports. To then go into that court and say, like, hey man, like we're gonna work over this retired judge from Fort Worth who had to come in last minute, because we're committed to making sure that, hey, this Texas Tech football train doesn't go off the rails. And frankly, like you said, like I think we all wish our programs were so dedicated, but then I also recognize, like, hey man, like you're dealing with a quarterback that's dealing with real addiction issues. Like, how are we thinking about the humanity of it all? And maybe we're at a point where college sports is so big, we really don't care about the humanity of it all, and that's had a trickle down effect onto what people want to do with their players, going to certain schools. Where do they go regionally? We've seen the NAACP step in, and I wonder how Texas Tech is going to be poised to continue through that, and will it just be through the lane of villainy?
Well, I mean, I don't even know. I think the villainy is that people don't like that they're trying to swing above their weight class. And that is what is annoying people. I think if Texas Tech was doing their 8-4 thing like they did most of my life, then nobody would care, right? But when Texas Tech is taking your players, giving them money, whether it's in softball, whether it's in basketball, whether it's in football, and now they're coming for you, and they're willing to pay, and they're willing to play at a high level. Well, that is upsetting people. That's what makes them villains. Like the Thorsby thing is interesting, and I'm still trying to figure out what I think about it. When we're recording this, like this is still sort of in flux, and I actually have some phone calls with some attorneys that I want to because I want to know more about the legal arguments on this, right? So I don't want to talk too far out of school on it. But if I were Brendan Thorsby, I'd be happy with Tech. I'd be like, oh, well, they're protecting me. They're going to pay me my $6 million that they used to get me. They're going to give me a platform to go to the NFL, and they've helped to get me addiction treatment and everything else. Like maybe people might look at that cynically and say Texas Tech is only doing that because he's Brendan Thorsby and he's really good and they can use him. That's probably true. But like I would imagine that is helpful for Brendan Thorsby. Now, how everybody else feels about it, what it means for college football, like that's much more up in the air, and I'm willing to listen to the arguments. But my bigger overall thing on this, and again, I'm still forming my argument, so you getting the beta version of it right now, Eddie, is that if the NCAA had a collective bargaining agreement like every other professional league, well, they would be able to ban him. They would be able to suspend him for the year, and it wouldn't be an issue. But the NCAA don't want to do that, so I don't have a lot of regard or concern for the NCAA because their crime has been denying athletes the ability to cash in on their value for the life of the organization. Okay. And they're still trying to do it. Now they're trying to get an end around and get Congress to do their dirty work for them. And so because they're doing that, and that is to me the bigger outrage than Brendan Thorsby, then I'm just like, I don't care. Like I don't care if y'all mad. And y'all can respond in whatever way you see fit. You can try not to play Tech. You can maybe try to expel them from your league, prevent them from getting in the CFP, whatever. But like I don't care about their arguments on the other side of this because I know what they've been doing to deny athletes their rightful income and ability to capitalize on their value, and they're still doing it. And if they just did things the right way, they would be able to handle this Brendan Thorsby thing in a way that everybody would probably be more comfortable with. Yeah,
and I think that's, man, you stole some of that from me for sure, because it's like it's hard to have only but so much empathy for the at large, because like these are things that you could have reined in a long time ago.
Yeah.
100%. And I have to give Tech a lot of credit in the sense of they are very liberal when it comes to, hey man, all y'all get paid. Basketball team, softball team, baseball team, like everybody getting this bread.
They're doing it at the top. They're doing it at the top in every sport. And I haven't been out to Lubbock. Some of my guys that cover college football have been out there, and they say, "Yo, Tech's facilities are incredible." Like they say, it's like bar none. Nobody is messing with those. And so, yeah, I mean, like it seems like a good deal. If you get Texas Tech, if they want you and they want to spend money on you, and you go out there, it seems like they're gonna take care of you. I can't hate on that. I like that. I want the players to be taken care of. I want them to have the best of everything. I want them to get paid. I might not be the one person that want to go out to Lubbock, but if you are, more power to you.
Yeah. And I want to pause there because when we come back, I want to hit about Texas Tech is rising in this space, but Texas A&M, I've never heard them so quiet before. And I've also never heard Texas this loud before. I've never heard Sark talk this much. So Joe Anderson, Eddie Masonette, Talking the Big Game. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talking the Big Game. Joe's over here having conniptions about his age compared to one A&M coach. I don't know what's
Mike, they call him Michael Elko on the internet. I cannot believe I'm the same age as Mike Elko. It's just jarring. Like sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, you're not really 48 years old, are you? But then like the reality hits you when it's like, oh, me and Mike Elko, we would have been in class together.
I think it's much more a compliment to you. I mean, look, man, we are of the Graybeard gang, Silver Fox Committee, but I mean, your hairline is looking sturdy like Paul George. Like,
no, man, I appreciate it. I didn't know until the pandemic that I could grow this hair, so I'm holding on to it for as long as I can.
Maybe I need to try. I don't know. It's probably
give it a shot. It's a lot of extra work that I was trying to run from previously. Yeah. And so, if you don't want to have to invest in pomade and curling custards and all that stuff, then you might not want to get into it.
Yo, I haven't had the orange can in a long time, but if I need to go procure one, I will.
Royal Crown. What's it called? Was it Royal Crown? No, Royal Crown? Was that the little? They had a little green can.
Yeah. The green can was the Royal Crown. The orange can was the Murray's.
I didn't have Murray. I didn't do Murray's.
But check this out. So this for the beard now, they got a silver can that Murray's makes. It's called Billy's. So they just took that same orange can. They just ordered it in silver and now they got it in Billy's. So that's the end of free promo. We've given
Send me the link so I can know. Okay.
I got you.
I want to get my beard like yours. You know what I'm saying? I'll be a grown man with it.
Speaking of promo, and it feels like this man is cutting wrestling promos like once a week now. Joel, have you ever seen a time where the Texas Longhorns head football coach is out here giving hot takes on a week-to-week basis like Steve Sarkisian did this summer? Because this man had hot takes for NCAA, which was warranted. But this man also had hot takes for saying his 2s and 3s could whip up on somebody else's schedule and somebody else's team in Lubbock that we just talked about earlier. And it feels like, if for anything else, Sark is just a bit cantankerous these days. And I don't know if that's because he feels that high and mighty about his football team and his program, or if he feels stress or an anxiety around the corner because he has a high and mighty football team. I'm curious your thoughts on that.
I mean, I think it's both. I think he has I mean, there's a lot of pressure under Sark. I don't think he's necessarily on the hot seat.
Right.
But they spend a lot of money on this roster. And it might, I mean, at least for the next few years, unless Arch comes back the year after next year too, they might not have this collection of talent again for a long time. I mean, Arch Manning, you might have the top NFL quarterback prospect. They might have the best running back room between Hollywood Smothers and Raleek Brown. They got out of Arizona State. They got Cam Coleman, probably the best wide receiver out of the portal. They might have the best left tackle in the country and Trevor Goolsby. They might have the best defensive end in the country and Colin Simmons. that is a lot of talent, man. And they're going to have to do something with it. And so I could understand both being confident in my team, being like, look, I've got some athletes and a roster full of talent that we've not had around here in a long time. So I might, be a little chesty about it. But also it might just drive you a little crazy. It might just be, you might be feeling that heat. And this is a way to sort of take the heat off your players and put it onto yourself, which, I can understand. Because, you and I, we're from Big 12 country. Texas has never been as good as their hype in my entire life. Never been as good as their hype. Now, the one, when they had Vince Young gave them that, put the battery in their back, right? Mm-hmm. But most other years, they're a letdown. They talk like they're Alabama, okay? Right. But then we ain't got no Alabama results. And so maybe this is just a new approach. And, Sark feels like, if we're going to be there at that level, we need to start acting and talking like it.
Yeah. And it's so interesting you position it that way because, I like it when Texas is elitist. Like, I think that's actually like we talked earlier about you needing good characters for a story. Yeah, I need a bougie elitist brand. Like that's good for business as far as I'm concerned. And I recognize that at once it feels like Texas should be above any talking across the table in the way they have, especially some of that towards like Texas Tech. And at the same time, like I recognize a scorned child when I see one. And given what happened last season, 10-3, not a terrible season, but we understand what the expectations are in Austin. And like, buddy, you just not gonna live that Florida loss down. Like,
you lost that game, and you look bad in a bunch of other games that you eventually won in lopsided fashion. They didn't look good against UTEP. They didn't look good against San Jose State. Mm-hmm. Okay, they didn't look good against Mississippi State. They went to overtime to beat Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So I mean, that's all part of your record. You won these games, but also you didn't look like a dominant team. And I just if the CFP in this early iteration, if you're going to make an exception for a 3-loss team, that's not the 3-loss team you make it for, right? Yeah. Like, and so maybe this year it'll be different. Maybe they won't lose 3 games, but I didn't understand their argument. Notre Dame had a much better argument to be in there. BYU had a better argument to be in the CFP. I don't know what Texas is talking about. Because I'm sorry, I was like, no, y'all weren't that cold last year, bro. Deal with it.
Yeah, yeah. And I recognize too, like, we're gonna be at an interesting place with Arch because on one hand, he had a good season last year. He was good. Like,
it started off rough, but he was much better than what the expectations were crazy high early on. He played, he struggled early, but some of that was the line wasn't great. He didn't have great receivers. They couldn't run the ball. The whole offense was on Arch Manning, and by the end of the year, he had more reps. He looked more like what people had said he was going to be by the end of the year. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, we have experience watching a Nepo baby quarterback at UT. we remember the Chris Sims experience, right?
Yeah,
and if you look back at the Chris Sims experience, like, better career than we probably imagined.
Chris Sims was a good college quarterback, man. He really was. Yeah.
He was a good college quarterback. If this doesn't go right, and by right, I mean, like, I don't know, like getting to the CFP, like, is this going to feel like a letdown for Art? Yeah. Or are we like, well, this is the beauty of it all. Like, hey man, like you're going to have to spend another year, because I think everybody's projecting this man to be #1 pick of the draft in 2027.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if it looks to the point of, hey man, like that young man with that lineage and that access to resource being under that quarterback guru, is it a good thing if he has to come back for another year?
Well, I mean, I think there's a few things. He comes from a family where none of those guys left early. Mm-hmm. Peyton, Eli, they didn't. Some of that is because they don't have to. Like, they got the money, they got the generational wealth. They don't have to, and presumably they were enjoying their college time. So Arch Manning is going to make, professional level money in a place that he probably is treated like a king. Mm-hmm. And, he can make that decision and it'll make a lot of sense. But yeah, to your point, that it will be sort of interesting to see if after this year he feels he needs to make the jump or if he needs to stay in. And there'll be obviously be a lot of variables in it. But I wouldn't be surprised if he came back, even if he had a really good season, because that's what the Mannings have done. Yeah. And they know, like a lot of people know, there's not a lot of correlation between like college success and NFL success. It's really difficult to tell. But one of the things that matters is how many snaps you take in college, right? Like how many reps you got. And right now he doesn't have those reps. Maybe after this year, they'll feel comfortable that he has enough reps and put enough on tape to go to the next level and feel prepared. But, it wouldn't be the worst thing for him to get 3 years of starting experience and get those reps and feel like he's ready to go to the NFL. And I'm sure it also matters who has the number 1 pick next year too, right?
Good luck to the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, man. Would you want to go to the Cardinals? Would you want to go to the Jets? You know what I'm saying? Like that's a thing that they're going to be thinking about. And we've seen that the Mannings be like, I ain't going over there. When it was the Chargers, like I'm not going over there. So I'm sure they got a lot that they're going to be thinking about. But yeah, bottom line is it's all set up for Arch this year in a way that it wasn't last year. Like you got the coaching guru, you got the talent around you. Like this year, you should thrive.
Well, the funny thing, you brought that up about the Chargers. Imagine if they'll say no to the Chargers, they'll definitely say no to the Jets. Or the
Cardinals. It would be irresponsible for them to not think about it. Like, the Browns have a bunch of quarterbacks, so whatever, we'll see. But like, if I had the opportunity to go back for another year and I knew that the Browns were going to be the team they're going to select me as their quarterback, I could understand being like, I don't think I want to do that. I think I'll just spend another year in Austin and roll the dice and see who's number 1 pick next year.
Yeah. Yeah. And a person I don't think he's going to vie for the number 1 pick, but there are some people that believe that the best quarterback in the state of Texas isn't Arch Manning, but it's Marcel Reed at Texas A&M, which I have to say, God bless Argentina they will have already completed the World Cup by the time this episode is published. But God bless Leo Messi for taking his talents to Kyle Field and College Station.
That's crazy.
Marcel Reed with what could only be detailed as a rapper-esque style of jewelry on his neck, wearing a Argentina number 10 Messi kit. And I don't know if Messi saw the football jersey, because Marcel Reed also wears number 10, and he presented his jersey as a gift, as like, hey man, did y'all spell my name wrong? Like, why does it say Reed? Like, I'm always mindful of like, how is this actually being received? That like, oh, now I have a Texas A&M football jersey for someone like Messi.
If I was Marcel, I don't think I would have let them do that, man. I know that I was like, can we give him a Manziel jersey? You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. Like, I don't want the internet, because they're gonna pull that out. Like if it doesn't go right for Marcel this year, that picture is gonna come out a lot. Okay. Like, remember when he gave Lionel Messi his own jersey? So yeah, I wouldn't if I was Marcel, but if I was Marcel, I'd be a millionaire too. So
there you go. And the millionaire and the Aggies, which we've talked so much about the money of it all. Yes, hey, Texas A&M, like the 3rd richest program in the country. And yet it feels like, talk about braggadocious programs. I have not heard it. I'm here in Houston, and it feels like Texas A&M has been quiet for like 6 months now. And I almost wonder if, the one thing about Elko that I actually thought what made him such a good hire is he's all about his business. He's always been quiet, head down. You go in there, Duke is one of those programs, like if you're successful there, it's probably a good barometer of like, if you could do it here, imagine how you could do it at a big program. Yeah. And I'm always just mindful of like, A&M also seems to be willing to be very patient, which is not a norm either. Right. There. Are they, I don't. Should we be afraid of like a sleeping giant of them being a little too quiet? Because like they were really, really good last year, and they played some of the most exciting football I watched all season in 2025.
Yeah, no, man. I think you're right in that the A&M program is a reflection of its coach, and Mike Elko is like, you know, like you said, a very business oriented, head down, head down, and just focus on the task in front of you sort of program now, right? And so they're getting a lot of results. And last year, man, like they were 11-0. They lost their last 2 games of the year, right? And they lost, Texas is, whatever. I'm sure that loss hurt, but that is a rivalry game. Anything can happen. The loss to Miami, in retrospect, doesn't look that bad. Like that's a game you would have wanted to win. You had it at home, but the wind was crazy that day. Miami's defense was insane. So, and Marcel Reed is still learning. Like it's still he's not a finished product. There's still a lot of work left to do. He wasn't a quarterback that could beat a defense like that yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that there's a lot for A&M to look forward to. If Marcel improves 25%, I think they could have a very similar season because man, that A&M team was great last year, man. The defense, Tari and York, everybody flying all around the field. They had a really, really good team, and I don't think that's going to change under Elko. I think eventually A&M is going to break through. Like I don't know if that means a national championship or whatever, but like the way that they're building with the resources, the reach that they have, the coaching that they've got. I think it's reasonable to expect that one day, within the decade or so, that they're going to break through and contend for a national championship for real.
Well, that's the scarier thing is, and the thing, if I was rooting for comedy, it would always be the more comedic thing for A&M, or God help us if Tech figured it out before UT did.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Look, the thing is that they kind of have in some ways, man. Texas has not been the best program in Texas over the last decade, but maybe 1 or 2 years, So like it goes back and forth. Like some years TCU pops up. Sometimes, A&M is right there. Sometimes now it's Tech. And, SMU is spending a lot of money now, right? They've made a playoff appearance. So don't forget UNT. Man, I felt so bad for UNT, man. They had their one really good year, man, and everybody left. Everybody went up to Stillwater, dog. I just felt bad for them. But yeah, man, it's just there's a lot of good programs now, and because it used to be Texas could overwhelm you with its resources. Austin is a great college town. But now kids have other factors to consider when they're going to college. So Texas used to have all the advantages, and they still have a bunch of advantages, but other schools in the state can work around that and take advantage of it. So, I think Sark is a good coach. I think the Texas program is in a good shape right now, but I could easily see Longhorns fans getting antsy and getting impatient. And that kind of impatience is not good for your program ultimately.
Well, and the other thing that I really thought about when you brought up Texas A&M and Miami, bro, there were so many pros on the field. And the way that A&M consistently retools in a way that I'm not used to Texas A&M being methodical, bro. It's never been the way that they really move. And like they are very casually, we're gonna get the best receiver out the portal. Like they got Concepcion last year, and he was a top pick. And
Mario Craver, man, they brought him up someplace else. Yeah.
Like it would be comedy, like you said. We are both Big 12 dudes, but if A&M ever figured it out, I think everybody at Texas could lose their job.
It would be shocking, but the thing is, because we're not too far distant in age, maybe.
No, we're close.
We're close, yeah. But you were a Big 8 guy when A&M had its moment. When I was growing up, A&M was the dominant program in state, like under R.C. Slocum. First Jackie Sherrill and R.C. Slocum. Like they ran the state. Those were down years for Texas.
Yeah.
And so it's not, it's not so unusual for me to think of A&M as being the better program than Texas. Now I know that that's not the way it's been historically, but A&M being better than Texas, man, that was the historical norm for a lot of my life. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody to be better than TCU, but like, A&M, man, they got some stuff going on, man. Mike Elko's a good coach.
Hey man, look, you helped me because that's the last thing I wanted to get on, man. So because we have to have a conversation about TCU quickly, because your favorite football coach, Sonny Dykes, has had a lot of things to say about quarterbacks. He had a lot of interesting things to say about Josh Hoover, who is now the quarterback of the defending national champion Indiana Hoover. That sounds crazy.
It's crazy
out loud, by the way. And like I understand that when someone leaves your program, you have to be in a situation of you got to protect the program. And I thought it was a bit of nasty work to kind of talk down on Hoover and his turnovers and things like that on the way out to go to Indiana. But this is the new way and age of TCU, and y'all got a quarterback from Harvard.
Yeah, man.
That I believe. Do we need to change your name to Joel Soothsayer Anderson? Like,
hey, man. Man. I remember we were on our college podcast show, Ringer Tailgate. I don't know how Jaden Craig got on my, radar, but Harvard was having an unusually good season. I think maybe they were undefeated, and maybe were undefeated up until their final game of the year against Yale, when they lost against Yale. But Jaden Craig was outstanding, and they were talking about him as sort of like an outside NFL draft pick at that point. And I brought it up, maybe early mid-August, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, he's a TCU now. I'm not. Look, I don't know if any people. I doubt TCU listens to me. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm in the family or anything like that. But I thought that was kind of ironic, and I like Jaden Craig. I mean, I really like Josh Hoover too. Like I don't know who's going to be the better quarterback, but to your point, I don't. So somebody told me that they thought that was more a reflection of Kendall Briles, like that there was more of a diss of Kendall Briles, who's the offensive coordinator now, who's now going to the University of South Carolina. Right. I don't know, but either way, those were your guys. You hired Kendall Briles. Nobody was beating down the door telling you to hire Kendall Briles. Everybody knows when you bring in Kendall Briles that there's some baggage there. Yeah. And that no school has ever been sad to see him leave. Okay. Right. At this point, like when he left Arkansas to come to TCU, it wasn't like Arkansas was like, damn, how are we going to do it without Kendall Briles? So I don't like that Sonny did that, but I've eased up on Sonny a little bit, because I'm like, 9-4 isn't bad, and there's been 2 9-4 seasons since the national championship season. And I don't know how committed our boosters in the program is to spending at the level that it takes to compete with the Texas Techs right now. So I think that's still to be determined. And in absence of that, I'm like, I'm just going to have to deal with 9-4, and that's not the worst thing in the world. I would like us to be better. I think we should be more competitive in the Big 12. But I think right now TCU is trying to figure out how committed are we to this? Are we SMU committed? Okay. Right. And so I hope they get there, man, because if they don't, I don't think they're gonna make it into the next, version of whatever FBS is.
Well, that's the thing. This is when I get to be ignorant, because Texas is such a well-heeled, well-resourced state that it's hard to look at a private Texas institution and be like, oh, y'all broke compared to other schools. And of course, clearly TCU is not broke.
It's not broke.
But there's also clearly been a decision that either we're only willing to go so far, or homie, we ain't got it. And I think the understanding economically, historically, we kind of joke, but we understand that Texas Tech is oil money. Texas A&M is oil and agriculture money. And we understand UT is all of the above.
Everything. Yeah.
What are those dynamics really at TCU, and why is it that a school like SMU is so much more willing to be a bit I don't want to use the word flagrant, but yeah, man, just run the checks. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I'm still trying to figure that out. Like we do have wealthy alums, guys that work in banking, business, oil, like there are, some of that there, but it's not at the level of what like all these other places are, man. Like it's not SMU money, right? And so I think that there is money there, but I wonder if they're just waiting to see, like, is Sonny Dykes the guy? I wonder if there's a part of them that's like, if we move beyond Sonny, maybe we'll start writing some more checks, right? Yeah. To be honest, but I don't want to talk too far out of school, but I do wonder if that's a piece of it. And yeah, man, I mean, TCU has always sort of been floating around trying to find its place in college football. Like that, my first year in college on the football team, we were in the WAC. By the time I left, it was a Mountain West, and then it was Conference USA. They were in Big East for a summer.
Yeah.
And then, and all this other stuff. And so then finally got the call up to the Big 12. And so they've always just been like a step behind trying to keep up with the Texases and the Texas A&Ms and doing more with less.
Yeah.
And that's cool, but I think we're rapidly approaching a point where it's like, eventually you're going to have to spend, man. You're going to have the money. But again, that's why I think all these schools, man, they're all, up on Congress trying to beg for, compensation limits and everything, because they know that, like, some schools are just going to be willing to pay in ways that you're not. And it is going to be determinative about, like, your place in the game.
Yeah. And it's funny because the team or the school that actually reminds me of TCU in some ways now, although they are very different than TCU, is Texas State. And I only bring up Texas State because, I mean, Texas State is Texas's version of UCF and USF in Florida in a lot of ways, because you have that program sitting right in the middle of Austin and San Antonio. And, it's about to be Austin, Antonio at some point.
They're going together.
They've got 40,000 in alumni. And look, I remember being introduced to Southwest Texas State watching the movie Necessary Roughness back in 1988 with Scott Bakula. Like, those are my actual memories of Texas State. And yet they are a program that is moving from conference to conference. Now they're in this reimagined Pac-12, which is only 8 schools. But, like, they got bread down there. They're starting to spend some money down there. Matter of fact, Coach Terrence, who coaches the basketball program down there, HBCU alum, like, he's starting to really bring guys into that basketball program. Coach G.J. Kinney, obviously a Tulsa quarterback. Now he's at Texas State, and, he's starting to flirt with other major jobs. And he just took more money just to stay there in San Marcos. And the amount of money that's flying around in Texas, man, there's so many programs that are going to be able to eat. But I also just recognize, you mentioned 9 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many schools that would dream.
Yeah, they would die for that 4.
And I start to worry that, what does that mean when 9 and 4 doesn't feel good enough anymore? Even for a big program to occasionally have a 9 and 4, like if Sark went 9 and 4 this year, you talked about him not being on a hot seat. Let him be 9 and 4 this season.
Oh, like, yeah. Well, 9 and 4 used to be a big deal because, like, you could say Sonny Dykes went 9 and 4 and beat USC in a bowl game. And winning a bowl game like that used to be a big deal, but the playoff is just totally blown up the conception of ending your season in a bowl game is a good thing. Like, it's just like, that there's still a separation. It's not what it used to be, because some schools don't play in the bowl games. They play in the playoff. So it's not quite the same thing. And it's interesting you said that about Texas State. My best friend went to Texas State. And so I've spent a lot of time Southwest Texas State's campus. Like, it's a fun place. There's a lot to do down there. You know what I'm saying? You right in between Austin and San Antonio. And yeah, man, I mean, I'm not going to say that there's no reason. I mean, obviously there's reasons that Texas State has not been a major program and thing like that.
They're also close to that school in Austin, which
school, right? You know what I'm saying? So they're working with some things, but like there's an opportunity for them to be good. I just don't know. I don't know what their realistic ceiling is right now, right? But yeah, man, San Marcos is a good place. I'll tell you what, as a recruit, if everything being equal, if the money is equal, which it never is, I'd much rather go to San Marcos than Waco. I'd rather go to San Marcos than Lubbock. I had a lot of fun at San Marcos. It's not a lot of people have fun at TCU or Fort Worth, but I could understand that being a tough decision. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, San Marcos has a lot to offer. I could see them doing something, but again, it's always like that with schools like that. Like, man, I don't understand why UCF and USF aren't great. They got big enrollment, a lot of alums in areas where there's a lot of recruits, but like, this historical stuff matters, man. Like the tradition and the program and, the pageantry around it, all that stuff matters. It takes a long time to build a program to get to a point where it's the University of Texas, it's an Oklahoma, it's an A&M. And so I don't know if Texas State is going to be able to do it in time for that to matter, but we'll see.
A minority institution, Texas State.
Is it?
For our Hispanic brothers and sisters.
I did not know. See, man, look, bro. All right, man. I'm just saying, me and my dog, I spent a lot of, I would say about a fourth of my time was spent in San Marcos when I was in college. So my cousin is in the Athletic Hall of Fame there. Mm-hmm. And he just talks about it all the time about like, man, how much fun he had at Texas State, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, man, you can make a case.
Sounds like we need to go catch a game.
I'm saying, let's go, man. Let's go.
Joel Anderson, the Ringer, bro. I appreciate you. We've been overdue, so this is a ton of fun, and we'll see you up the road.
Looking forward to it, man. I'm gonna catch you in H-Town. That's what it's gonna be. So
that's what it's gonna be for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Talking a Big Game. We're going to be doing this once a week to start. Catch us on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram. Subscribe to the newsletter as well. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.